Here's my take on why pit bull bans are being lifted in Florida. So, Florida governor signed into law this thing that bans pit bull bans. So it takes away power from the local people to continue honoring the in place pit bull bans or put in new ones. So it takes away their power. So, but they what do they say that? Why do they say they're doing it? It's to fix a housing crisis, or because we got to get rid of the stigma of these poor pit bulls. You know, it's half for humans, half for dogs. Makes no sense to me, but that's what they're saying, and they're not talking to us about the negative externalities of added dogs. What about veterinary suicide? The veterinary business is dominated by women. So what about that? What about the barking of dogs that damages the infant? Barking dogs is terrible for pregnant mothers. What about all the bites? What about the Florida residents that already have lap dogs? They're going to now be at risk by all these extra pit bulls. What about the torn up interiors of the apartments where these pit bulls live? And literally millions of other negative externalities of owning these extra pit bulls. Why are they not talking about that? Why are they just presenting this as some kind of perfect solution for the housing crisis? Lifting pit bull bans. I'll put a link in the description. Um, so why are they not doing that? So my take on this is they're trying to turn Florida blue. They're trying to gain political power. So if you bring all these dogs into the community, and then they start noticing the veterinary suicide because we're going to need more veterinarians, they're going to say, well, we got to raise your taxes for a suicide prevention program, you know, or we get more pit bull bites. Okay, well now we got to have more police officers out there, and we got to um, do a bunch of stuff in the community. That's going to raise your taxes. Any of the negative externalities of dogs, the police are going to have to come in. Animal control is going to have to come in. ASPCA. Whenever some of these Florida people wake up to the nastiness of pit bulls, inevitably the pit bulls will get abandoned. So now the shelters and local places are going to have to come in and house those on your tax dollar, which means they're going to have influence over you because they're going to get to go make a committee and decide to raise taxes to take care of these extra stray dogs, or to bring in more police officers to handle these dog bites, or when there's a lawsuit, that's all going to also come from Florida taxpayer money. Dog bite payouts in Florida, even without the pit bulls, are very high. And as all these things start to happen in the community, little by little, they're going to have more influence over you. They're going to have more influence about how you think. When a pit bull bite happens, they're going to have a bunch of news stories, and they're going to say, we don't know what could have happened. These pit bulls are the little baby dogs. We don't know why this Pomeranian was killed, and we don't know why Grandma Sally's little poodle got killed. We don't know what could have triggered the pit bull. You know, we have no clue. And so then they'll tell you, well, you need to go get training. You need to get a fence. You need to do this in your apartment. Whenever you get a pit bull, you need to go to this place to get the pit bull, not this place. And so they're going to have more power over how you think, how you look at your neighbors, how you look at the world. And then at the end of the day, when you're all confused and tired by this, you're going to go home and you're just going to want to pet on your dog. And then you're going to want to be like, see, dogs are better than humans. Yet the humans out here, way up higher than you, they're using dogs to screw around with you and keep you at a constant state of dispute between society and your neighbors. Like inevitably, these low income houses that they're making for Florida people that have pit bulls in them, the walls are not going to be soundproofed. So you're sitting in your apartment listening to barking, trying to live your life, and you go talk to your neighbor about it. The neighbors don't care. The neighbors will just be like, that's what he does. He barks. When the walkways in front of your apartment have dog turds on them, and you try to talk to your neighbor about it, they won't do anything about it. They'll tell you go buy this product on Amazon to get rid of the stink. They'll tell you go buy this product to make your apartment quieter. Or people will get tired of the barking and they will inevitably crank the heck out of their stereos and create more disputes. So it creates like a constant managed dispute. It's like there's this little thing about, you got red ants and black ants in a jar, and they're doing fine, they're working, doing their stuff. But then you shake the jar up, and then they're fighting, and then you have to come in there and take them apart. That's what this dog culture does. You take a community that already has some dogs, and you throw in a bunch of pit bulls. You're just starting chaos. You're throwing catalyst into a fire that's already burning. And so that's what I think they're trying to do in Florida. They're just trying to gain more influence. There's a story in Ohio that's very similar to this, where they hired a pit bull advocate to be the county dog warden, and he did a terrible job, but he was connected to the pit bull lobby, and when they tried to fire him, he sued the county for hundreds and thousands of dollars. So in the end, no pit bulls were helped. In the end, the county wasn't helped, and in the end, the county had to use its taxpayer money to fight this pit bull lobby guy that they hired as a dog warden. I'll put that story in the description. But in the end, they just diluted the funding and the power that the county had via adding more pit bulls to that county. That's the story in Ohio. You got to check that one out. But I think that's what they're doing in Florida. More dogs in the community means they have 100 more little choice points in your brain that they can control. What do you buy? Anti stink, anti bark. Go on Amazon and look at the anti bark devices. They fly off the shelf. People need anti bark devices, and like pepper spray. Pepper spray more and more and more gets sold. UPS and FedEx workers are constantly getting bit by dogs. They're even having their eyes removed and their legs torn up. So you want more FedEx workers to do that, to be bitten up. These FedEx workers that are probably delivering chew toys for these dogs too. So that's my current theory on Florida. More pit bulls equals they have more levers of power, and the people that push pit bulls, what kind of levers of power do you think that they want? They know how dangerous pit bulls are. They know that the pit bull lobby is $1 billion um, nonprofit organization that is pretty much paid for by your taxpayer money. And they're not going to tell you that. They're not going to tell you about the bite statistics. They're not going to tell you about the plastic surgeries from dogs. They're not going to tell you that. They're going to give you the dogs, wait till those problems happen, and they're going to try to sell your governor or your state the cure, and then you're going to have your taxes raised. So yeah, dogs are just a way to dilute your communities, and I think that's what Florida is doing right now.